Viden knew that this wasn't going to be easy, but he wasn't going to give up on the first blown question. He had an ace up his sleeve. "How many billets will there be in the expedition?" he asked. 12, the AI replied. Viden asked, "How many applicants are there for the expedition?" 7, the psychologist replied. Being a machine, the young man's point was lost on it. "Do you have any more questions before we continue with the interview?" "Yes," he said. "I hear that there will be angels on the expedition. Why are they coming?" "The proper question is, why are the angels allowing humans on the expedition? For a journey of this duration and importance, they historically have performed the missions by themselves." Present day. The starship Erebus dropped out of FTL and into an ocean of superheated plasma. The submind reacted immediately to the unexpected emergency. A quick gravity and neutrino scan identified the location of the nearby nuclear furnace. Sublight engines shoved the ship in the opposite direction at maximum acceleration. The submind alerted the angels that they were needed and released maintenance bots throughout the ship's inner hull. The robots had few hull breaches to contend with. The temperature was intense, but not so high as to cause significant damage. The low-level artificial intelligence that operated the starship had reacted immediately and correctly for the situation. It was a half hour before they escaped the star's chromosphere and passed beyond the corona to safety. The angels analyzed the situation. They had arrived at their intended destination. It was the destination that had unexpectedly changed. With the ship no longer in danger, it was time to awaken their passengers. 3 identical blonde women stood motionless in separate shallow oval recesses in a wall. Delicate spider-thin restraining arms held them in place. They wore silver necklaces. The necklaces held in place a silver nameplate. On one was written Eon. The second said Layla. The third nameplate said Mir. It was useful for the angels to have bodies from time to time. For excursions, they could download their mind patterns. Inside the Erebus, remote control was the option of choice. The eyes of the 3 androids opened simultaneously. The restraining harnesses released the 3 women and retracted into the wall. In single file, the androids walked down a corridor and entered a room. The Genesis room contained 24 chambers. 4 of the chambers were alive with a soft hum and dancing status displays. There were 4 human passengers. They had been stored as data this past 667 years. The chambers were nearly done assembling their bodies from the atomic level up. The Genesis chambers were one of many machines that dated back to a previous epoch. Like many of the most advanced technologies, they could be duplicated, but the subtleties of how they achieved their miracles had been lost. Some scholars believe that the most impressive devices, like the chambers and faster-than-light drives, dated back to the first men. Unlike the chambers, some of the subtle complexities of the star drives had eventually been gleaned and improved on. It was not normal for angels to mix with humans for any period of time. It was their job to sit on the mountaintops and watch the world go by until needed. The few humans who did have the privilege to interact with the ancient guardians often found them perplexing. But this mission was of great interest to both the living and that which was never born. Mir asked,
"Why do they insist on being assembled from their original set of atoms?"
Eon, who was the oldest, replied. "Because they fear death," she said to her 2 companions. "If they are broken down to their constituent elements and later reassembled using elements from foreign origin, they believe that they have died and the new resurrected self is a doppelganger, a counterfeit, a new and different person."
"I do not understand,"
Mir confessed.
"It is the pattern the atoms are assembled in that defines the self, not the atoms and molecules themselves. The memories and personalities and self-awareness emerge from this quality," she said. All machines designed to interact with humans were endowed with automatic gestures meant to visibly display meanings such as, "I am listening," "I do not understand," "I agree," or "I believe that I have upset you." The machines themselves would often take advantage of this form of a sub-communication channel to one another while in their physical bodies. They would make facial expressions, use hand gestures, and change postures.
But that didn't mean that they understood the emotional meaning of the expressions. It was a form of data handshaking, a method to determine if the information was received as expected or not. Layla tilted her head to one side, expressing a human gesture of curious thought.